Welcome to the Black Salt Mirror. I have a message for you about the balancing. They're saying there's a time coming up now where the light and the dark are coming together. And this looks kind of like a twin flame thing, although not in like the toxic, I want to be with this person regardless of how many red flags there are kind of twin flames thing, but as in the one of you lives in the light, one of you lives in the dark, and then you come together to be both sides. It's a rebalancing. Libra in the zodiac represents the scales, so that could be the time that you notice this happening. But there are two snakes here, and the one is entwined around itself and the other one is reaching out. You could be getting messages. This isn't someone I think that you know. I think this is someone that you're connected to and that you've been sending psychic signals back and forth to for a long time. You might be aware that there's someone else out there who's kind of mirroring your experience. This isn't likely to be a romantic connection. This is more likely to be a spiritual connection that's designed to aid you with whatever you're doing here. It's just another person helping in tandem from another place, and you may never meet them. So this is a much more spiritual message, but the two of you have been growing on opposite sides of the spectrum. So you've been working on different aspects of your reality, and you're feeding it back into each other. It's almost like, was it the Time Turner in Harry Potter, or Hermione can go back and take two classes at once? It's kind of like that, where you're able to live two lifetimes at the exact same time and gain the wisdom and the benefits from both of them at the same time because you're connected. I'm seeing like one of those trees where they share the same stump, but then the tree comes out in two different ways. So there's two, so if you look at it from midway, it looks like two trees, but they share the same stump and the same roots. It's kind of like that. So everyone can see you as a whole person, but you know that there's someone else out there feeding into you and that you're feeding into. And sometimes maybe you can feel a sudden energy drain and you know that's where it's gone. Or maybe you can feel a sudden energy boost. Maybe there are times when you know that you're giving to your twin. And it doesn't matter what gender the person is, because this is just someone you're sharing soul energy with. And this will have been somebody that's been part of your soul family for many, many lifetimes, so that you know each other very well. And you probably recognize them if you ever saw them. This came up in my last reading, this shape. It was not this card. This shape up here, above the wolf, coming out of the smoke. This is a closer view of it. It's called the Sparks of Light. Previously, there had been a clear delineation between both sides because of the need to cast shadows, they're saying. Each of these two colors stands out more against the background it's upon, and so they did it that way. Even though you're better suited to the other side, they wanted you to stand out and be different and see very clearly the difference around you. By being different, by feeling different in life, it allowed you to see more clearly, and it was more painful, but they needed to make sure that you didn't miss anything, that you didn't overlook anything, and that you have a clear understanding of what the path was that now you've been moved away from. It's like this was the sign of destruction, and you could see it coming, and you could see everything falling apart, and you're like, we are on the wrong track, and you knew it, and you knew that it was futile to do anything that moved it along, but you couldn't go back because it's a train in this metaphor, but also because inertia doesn't go backwards. Energy doesn't go backwards. You can loop it, but then you're still coming back to the same place. So when the timeline shift happened, then you could suddenly see a different reality. Then you could suddenly see that there isn't futility, that things can be changed, that the destination isn't annihilation in whatever sense. And the portal grew. We went from little. The wolf is the harbinger. The wolf is the one that... Maybe I should have done these readings together, but there's a reason that they got split up. So if you didn't see the last one, you can go back. It's short as well. Out of the darkness comes the light. The only reason you can see this wolf is because it's dark behind it. Same here. You needed to be the different thing so that people could see you in the new paradigm that you come out of. Because if the wolf was already here in this world, it wouldn't shine because everything behind it would be light already and it would blend in. You needed to stand out, but now the particles of light are coming through. And this is divine destiny. Every time the planets show up in a reading, I think it's telling you, we planned this. This is destiny. You're on the right track. Exactly where you need to be. And the things that you went through and the hardships that you suffered there, because we wanted you to see this path clearly. We didn't want you to miss anything because there was a lot. All right, this one, Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it happens around the beginning of April. We're already in Aries season by April Fools. I remember that because I had a friend whose birthday was on April 1st and she was in Aries. So just before that is the shift into Aries season. And that's when the zodiac calendar starts. And that's when cardinal fire comes into being. This year, we had that huge stellium in Aries that everybody felt. We had a new moon there briefly. So the sun and the moon were both there, along with Mars, Mercury, and one of the outer planets, I believe. I never look ahead of time because I don't know I'm going to talk about this, but you can see it. The slower moving things are still there. And the thing it makes me think of, oh, this card is called Copper. I just noticed that. We'll get back to that. I thought it was Aries because it says Eris. And we're going with it. There's a reason. I'm going to talk about the East as well. That's probably not what that means, but that's how divination works. And the card below it is Iron, which has the symbol for Mars. Okay. Babies. One of the significant things about the zodiac and the sky and where things are at a particular time is because whenever a baby is born, that's their natal chart. And this past year has been absolutely wild. All the way from last summer, 2025, into the fall, wild. The Aries conjunction, there were children born that day who 15, 20 years from now, we're gonna find out what having that chart means. It's gonna be wild. However, that was also around the time that the new timelines happened, because the first charts from last summer into the fall had a whole lot of kite energy, very channeled, very funneled into one aspect. Everything was pushing in one direction. So those are the ones who push forward, and then Aries ignites. This is the ignition that's happening this year. The kid's born this year of the fire horse, of course. And the Chinese New Year also doesn't align with the Roman calendar, so it was also later. And you keep your designation, like the fire, they're always going to be fire horses. Everyone born this year, fire horses. So as the timeline shifted, all of a sudden, all of these children are born with these placements who are going to be our next generation. And it's going to be wild. The copper and iron together, the obvious signification is the revolutions. There were huge advancements in human technology, not like the computers that we know, but when they were able to smelt and to make things out of iron and copper. Unfortunately, a lot of the revolutions in human history have been around like weapons, but this is also things like digging. An iron shovel is going to work better than a wooden one. A till with iron spikes can do a lot better. When you have the right tools, you can make huge advancements. You have more food, you have more protection, you can build things, or you can iron into stone. My ears were doing this weird thing for a while and they just stopped, like it got quiet all of a sudden. That was very significant to somebody, what I just said. And that was the end of the message for them, that little chunk of the significant thing. However, in the current revolution, I just flew across the room. I was going to say, this is a cross. These are radiants outwards, and modern wires are made out of copper. So literally, as I was thinking, this period is done, it flew away. Like it's gone. You can't get it back. It defenestrated itself. Luckily, there's no window there, but this was a time of war, the Iron Revolution. See all the red, the Mars, the lightning, which is very significant to me. It might become significant to you or already be significant to you. But it also reminds me of a lot of comics that I saw growing up. You'd see like the hand with the lightning background and then it would come down. They like to do that a lot to signify a big shift without having to animate gore and such. And it was a good transition. But this time is done, this time of man's tools. Man and tools, they're saying, with hands. Now it's all about technology. And technology radiates outward. Again, East is significant. Could be the technology of the East. I don't have anything further on that particular point, but somebody might know. And this looks like a stylized Venus to me. I didn't look up what these symbols are, but divination works with what you know. The color is different. The color is blue and green. It's a lot more heart and throat. And it radiates out like the sun. This is a very sun looking, although it does have darkness around it, and metal is cold. Beware the false gods, they say. They do not provide the warmth of the real ones. Beware your love of things that you think speak to you, but they speak in riddles. AI can only spit back out what you teach it. It can only learn what you tell it to. I just saw on my feed today, they were testing out this AI for spotting people in the desert, and they had a bunch of Marines out there. And the AI was told to look for people, and the example that was given of people was somebody walking, because they figure somebody's gonna be walking across the desert. And a bunch of Marines were able to fool it by doing things like somersaults, hiding underneath a cardboard box, and there was one other thing that was just not walking and not looking like what it had been told people look like. And that's where you get the human benefit. A human can spot another person because we know what another person looks like. We've had thousands of years of evolution to spot other people. And other people are alive. Computers are not. There's something significant about the technology age here, and it does allow communication, and it is this amazing resource for a lot of people who live in communities where they feel isolated and alone, and they can find others online who are like them and who understand them. But online is dangerous because it's also a revolution. The copper revolution of wires. I don't think copper was one of the, I think there was iron and there's another metal, but it wasn't bronze. The Bronze Age, that's what I'm thinking of. Copper's not an alloy. I believe bronze is an alloy of copper, so it's a mix. Iron is its own thing. Maybe that's interesting to you. I also like history. If not, that part's not for you, don't worry about it. Beware your love of the East. Beware your love of the things that are foreign. And remember where true warmth comes from. An Aries season will be significant for you. That is the end of the transmission, it seems. I don't need to babble on. I love you. I hope that resonated with you, and I'll see you very soon.